And I wanted to come to you in because you've got your own M&A business that you've been running for. How have you been dealing with the uncertainty and the fear and being, the leader in your family, one of the leaders, sorry, in your family?
To be honest, we've had worse times running our own business. And this has actually not been as bad, to be honest, on a personal level. When you're starting a business, we've had a fantastic run. Initially we had, then it went slightly down, and then we came back. But there's a period of 2015, for about a year and a half, things were really bad on our side. We questioned everything. Everyone goes through a cycle. And I think, we've had times which are far worse than these last 3 or 4 months. So coming to these last 3 or 4 months when you feel like you're being choked, actually, no, we have to revisit to when times were tough for us. When you only had one child and we're all in Dubai, and, plan B would have been pack up and go to the UK and go back to a normal job again, right? But luckily we lived through a bit of a tough period. I'm being absolutely transparent. And, we sort of grew as a family, as a couple, as a business. Everything grew at that point. Again, it's all looking within. It's all about reflection. It's all about coming down to, what do you really want to do? What do you really want to achieve? How happy do you want to be? All these questions that you've just been asking about how people have felt over the last 3 months, we've been through that. So we've actually been prepared mentally that, wait a minute, things could slow down, right? We've been saving, we've been building, right? So we're at the point where, okay, things slow down, but we've had enough steam coming in to go on some sort of momentum now. Things slowed down, but it's actually been ticking along. We've only really had one bad month, which was March to April. And that was because we're in quarantine for 24 hours a day, but we still had work. But you're right. Things have been tough, for us on the odd day. You talk about having the gloomy days. I'm not going to go into that. We've had days where like, oh my God, when's this going to end? But then, you talk to a few other people, and that's so important to talk. We talk, I talk to my counterparts. How are you guys doing? What's happening? Then you realize you're not in this all alone. And, that makes you think, wait a minute. We're in this together and we can pull through this together. Let's help each other. And that's really important. Take some of their work, look at some of their things that they're working on, share them what we're working on. They feel better that someone's out there, with the same sort of mindset. And next thing you know, there's solutions being given in the next day or so. So you come back up again. So it's ironic because everyone's business is built on, everyone says, oh, when times are good, oh, how are times, or, the economy is amazing, we're doing really good, everyone's in jobs. It's actually the opposite for us, to be honest. When times are really good, we don't do that well in my business. I'm being absolutely honest, and I'll say why, and I'll make it very transparent. People know this. Because there's Tom, Dick and Harry across the road who's got cheap liquidity from the local banks to getting a bank loan, think they can do it better than you, right? But when times are tough, they're not there anymore. Banks aren't lending. Yeah. It's a drought. The real tough guys survive. The real doers survive. And we do better because there's no one else down the road, right? So we clean up, to be honest, right? So when times are great again, everyone thinks they're the best in sliced bread, which I'm sure they are. But it's funny how they all disappear, right? When times go down. So we're seeing that now. There's no one else, trying to do some of the work that we're trying to do. Or they're trying to do it from their homes in London. Or we cover the Middle East. And so we've actually benefited learning over the last sort of 2 or 3 cycles that we've had over the last 9 years on my own. This little 3-month blemish, as I would call it, right, is something that's been prepared for.
Okay.
So I think we've been slightly better sort of prepared, for that, so I'm just giving you a reflection on what's happened.
I love your answer because, there's a lot that you've given me there is the grumpy days, which I'm going to come back to, and how connecting more with people. But I love about having your own business and having to change your mindset and you went through tough periods. So now this is not as tough as other things you've gone through. And I think you've been in that situation of having to be creative. So in this period, I find the people who are thriving are the people who are just reacting and being creative. And I definitely found with something you said of where you said in 2015, the plan B was if things got really tough, you go back to the UK. And for me, coming over to the US, coming over with my wife, we had a bump. We had no other plans. And while I was here, I kept thinking, okay, if it doesn't go so well, we can always run back. But then now the COVID's happened, in the middle of the year, I was like, there is no plan B. You have to, this is plan A, B, C, and D. So, and then switching that mindset for me has really helped with coping with what's happening. It's like, everybody.
And we've come, to be honest, Sonny, we've come to the realization we're not going to go back. So to be honest, there's no plan B either for us now, but it used to be there. Right now, we've come to the realization you've got to be creative. You got to dig deep. And things become all right.
And I think that really helps when you don't have that plan B and you actually say, this is it, and everybody else is in the same boat. So how are we going to make this work? And that's what I'm finding with a lot of people on LinkedIn are doing lots of collaboration and just kind of collective intelligence I'm finding is coming out of this. So I wanted to, Sherry, I wanted to just touch on you on that point. What's your take as well on what Mo just said about the mindset that's helped with dealing with this fear and uncertainty that we're facing?
I think it's absolutely everything. Mindset and with some personal honoring for where you are in the cycle, right? So there's a little bit of, oh my goodness, settling in, figuring out how things work, and then kind of like this opening to, oh, but look at what all these other possibilities are. So as I'm working with executives, I'm listening for and attuning to where they are in the process, because I'm not going to be the cheerleader motivator, come on, you can do this, let's get creative, if they're in a different stage. If they're deep in a grumpy day, and that means that I need to be deeply listening and holding space for that grumpiness, that's where we're going to stay, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to encourage you to stay there too long, but honoring that the collective stress and impact on each of us individually has a different cycle to it.
I love that answer. And actually, that's going to help me move into the grumpy days. And a friend of mine coined it the first time when she called us up, me and my wife, and she was the first one to say, I'm really having a bad day. I'm struggling here. And then after she said that, I started to notice I'm having grumpy days as well. And then when I started speaking with other friends, we're all kind of having these grumpy days. And it's just I was going to ask you guys, how do you deal with those grumpy days and bounce back from them and accept that you are having them? And then Mo, did you want to go?
Yeah, I think a lot of the grumpy days, or majority of the types of grumpy days I've ever had, I guess, over the last probably 3 or 5 months, or even throughout the whole 9 years, to be honest, is because of tiredness, to be honest. It's not because of my work. Work has thankfully been there, quite well over the last sort of few years anyway. Even throughout this period, we've been quite busy, but it's just tiredness, not enough time to do the things, in one day and rest, because, you forget, we go for a jog, we go for the odd gym, we go swimming, we've got very nice weather here. We go swimming as well. We spend time with the kids. Kids, like you said, they get up in the middle of the night. They've not been well, right? You take your turn looking after them. My wife has to take, she has to sleep as well. So we all take turns, right? We're both responsible adults, parents. So we have to take time with each other. The grumpy days I have is down to normally a couple of things, really. Number one has been tiredness, like I said, right? And that's when I'm saying, you know what? I'm not going to do anything all morning. I'm just going to sleep, whether kids are at school or if they're home learning. I just want my own time, or even effectively go for just a light jog. No, not a light walk. Forget jog, just a light walk. Yeah. But one of the things that's taken me out, of those sort of down, gloomy days is being able to just pick up the phone and talking to someone, to be honest, in work. And then you realize you're back in again. No matter how grumpy and tired you feel, you just need, wait a minute, you just have to say, no, I have to cheer for myself every day. No one's going to cheer for me. It's my own business, right?
Yeah.
So you just need that one odd call. Having said that, the other gloomy days could be down to, clients, we all rely on the clients. We all rely on our work, and it's tough for them as well. And when things go on pause or they don't pay, and all these little things, oh my God, I should have taken on the other client, this, that, whatever, right? This guy, But then you just think, wait a minute, you do have odd days which are down, but then you just got to really be positive, and you got to always be, you've always got to, be talking, and that's one of the things that gets me out of it is to talk. I either talk to my wife or talk to even investors and clients, right? Just to get up and have a walk for 20 minutes. You feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
It could either be because they're also not in a good situation, or and sometimes talking puts you into the right, you're actually talking a problem through is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Right? So talking is so important. It's not just rabbiting on about the news. It's actually talking, structuring a discussion. You actually answer your own question eventually, and you think, what was that all about? Things aren't that bad. They're okay, So I think, we all have bad days, but like you said, doing some light exercise is so important, And I talk about the odd days where you just want to lie, and okay, that's fine, but you can't do that all day. A couple of hours lying, you get up and you think, right, let's go for a walk, let's for a quick jog, and that's fine. You're up and running again, And I think that's so important. And the fact that my wife works out is a huge plus for me, because I see her, and it's like that encourages me. I'm like, she lost like 17 kilograms after giving birth to twins in a space of a year, and just over a year. She looks better than she's ever looked in her life, in terms of what and she's unbelievable. So that gives me strength. It's like, wow, why can't I do that? I can't keep up with her sometimes when I go to the gym. So
Motivation.
Yeah, so that's what I can say on the odd gloomy day. But we're all human, right? You all have it. So
I love that answer of it is for me, it's tiredness as well. Like if I'm having happy days, I find it's tiredness. And learning to do what you say is just sometimes if you wake up and you're tired, just sleep.
Just sleep.
Don't beat yourself up that you're not doing the 100 things on your to-do list. Like at that moment, you just need to sleep and rest. And then I love the point you mentioned about talking. I found for me, I think sometimes before when I used to go through grumpy days or whatever, I would go inside myself and just be a bit quiet and try and wait till I sort it out. My wife doesn't allow me to do that, so she's always questioning it. But being here in the US, I found connecting with friends and talking, just calling a random friend on the phone. After you finish talking to them, you've completely forgotten what connecting with people has been really, really helpful.